Good morning. It is July 16th, and it is 7:19 a.m. This is Bev. This is the Bev D Show. And I am pretty late. But I am here. Had some things going on recently that affect my mornings. No, I'm not 59 and expecting a child. But I did go to the doctor the other day and found out that I have high blood pressure. And so I'm on this medication. And it does not fare well for me in the morning. So my mornings are a little bit slower, but I have learned recently that, it is what it is, and you do what you do, and press on. So I'm here. I'm glad to be here. The doctor was pretty upset with me and said, you are going to leave this office, you're going to go get medication, and you're going to be on it to start taking care of managing that blood pressure. So it's effective, it's working, but it's also working on my stomach. So sorry about that, guys. Sorry to start up the show that way, but just wanting to let you know what's going on. We ignore things, we put things off, we listen to our bodies and we don't listen to our bodies. So my advice for the day is listen to your body. It is a machine that is working all on its own, and it was given to us, and we were given a responsibility, and the responsibility is to take care of that temple. And, thinking that my exercise and the things that I was doing, because I made some very significant changes for the better in my life, thinking that would all work, but sometimes there's other signals and things that happen and to alert us. So if you have any of those, take a look at it. I don't like, now I'm not profiling, but I don't really care for doctors. It's not that there's anything wrong with who they are and what their profession is, but I have been to a few that right in front of me while we're talking about my symptoms, they're Googling it. And I realized that they, they went to school, they studied, they passed tests, but symptoms arise. And so while going to college or whatever schooling that they did to get where they are, they don't know every symptom. But that really kind of made me mad. And so I was off of doctors for a while. And especially medication. And that is another thing I didn't appreciate, that they try things on us to see if they'll work. And I guess I started really getting silly and stupid, and I do mean ignorant, about medication, because I couldn't believe they were selling it on TV. And then they list off all the things that can go wrong with you if you take it. And it's just, I don't know. I was boycotting it. So the long and short of that all combined into one is here I am, and moving a little bit slower in the morning. So hopefully that will subside once my body adjusts. Good morning. Enough of that. It is Tuesday. It's a wonderful day, and great day to be alive. Very, very pleased with the fact that I get to wake up another day, and I thanked God for that and all that good stuff. So good morning. Recently, I have what in my home what's called well water. And I grew up with that, and it wasn't until very late in my upbringing that we started doing something with that well water called a water softener and treatments and things like that. I grew up with that rusty, kind of, odd tasting water and thought that's how water tasted and that's what we were supposed to have. But now that I can't do that, and something strange has been going on with my water system, so had that taken care of. And then I started thinking about one of the biggest improvements I made in my life is drinking water and drinking a lot of it. So I kind of got scolded by one of my daughters because she was really upset that I was buying water bottles to make things right. And so my alternative was, either get a filtering system all through or just, for the drinking water. So we hooked up this filter, and it's amazing. We hooked it up to the faucet in the kitchen, and we run it, and we get our drinking water, and life is good, and it tastes awesome. And the other day, I was going and filling up a glass, and I started thinking about, wow, that's really fascinating. That I know I'm a cheap date, but that's really fascinating that you can hook a unit up to this faucet and run water through it, and it takes all of the what's considered impurities out, what's considered things that don't taste good. And I just was standing there doing my thing, and I started thinking, gosh, wouldn't that be cool if we could do that as human beings? Just put a filter on, and that way anything that's bad and anything that's coming into our life, if we could just filter it before it gets to us. And I'm talking about hurt and relationships and ways to have those feelings come toward us. And we could just sift through them and never be hurt and never be angry and never lose our cool. And I was thinking, is there a way that we could set up our own defense mechanism to filter the bad or the sad that comes into our life? Or, I've heard the joke, when somebody speaks, certain people speak, there's no filter, there's nothing sifting through from what happens in that person's brain to what comes out of their mouth. And we do filter. Often we think something and we decide not to say it because that might hurt, or that may cause trouble, or that may cause drama. So we have that mechanism. I'm talking about a filter that comes into our bodies, our brains, or thought process before we get hurt or angry. And wouldn't that be cool if we were never hurt, if we were never angered, and we were never felt to be lonely or sad or anything. And what a great thing that would be. And then I stopped myself. And I started realizing that a lot of that hurt, a lot of that anger, while anger needs to be managed, but while we live our lives and sometimes we can't control what happens because we don't have a filter to stop something coming into our life, to stop it from hurting us or making us sad. And it doesn't work that way. Even if there was something, we need that. We need that balance. We need that checkpoint, and be able to put that into perspective. Because if we were just all bouncing around with unicorns and bubblegum and balloons and everything positive and pink and baby blue and life is good, we wouldn't have perspective. We wouldn't learn. And as hard as it is to, be hurt or sad, it's perspective. It's often that time when we lean on, God the most, or others. And it's a teaching moment. So while we wish that we had sometimes the ability to never be hurt, to never open our hearts up again, to feel, to love. I had been through that, and I, prior to meeting Tim, I wasn't hard against relationships or possibly having another relationship. I wasn't like I'm never going to, see anybody. I'm never going to date again. I wasn't like that. I just put in a message to God that said, hey, if you want, if I've had the fulfilling relationships of my lifetime, and we're at a place where you would rather me be single and helping others, I'm okay with that. I'm finally okay with that in my life. And I don't, being with someone or having a partner is amazing and wonderful and lovely, but so is giving myself in other ways to the universe. And so I prayed that every day. And I just said, if it's, and I called out to, the spirits of my family that have passed on, because I do believe in that. And I just, I've just said, if there's something that you guys want, if there's someone you want to send my way, or if I'm not supposed to, just continue to help me be comfortable in my own space, in skin, in thought process. And I was okay with that. I wasn't against that. But what I was also doing is that if I did talk to someone or I did meet someone, I was being very protective. I was taking better care of my heart. I was being very careful of how much I was allowing myself to love or feel. And so I did have a little bit of a filtering system. But what happens is that we're human beings. And once we start engaging into a relationship or talking with someone, we start thinking, what if? That would be cool. That would be awesome if I was in a situation where maybe someone did come into my life. That would be fun. And I started minimizing the relationship. So in other words, I was not like thinking long term and this is what's going to happen. I just thought, I just want to have coffee and laugh with someone or make a new friend. And I opened myself up to that. But I did have a filter, and I was protecting it protecting myself. And I know that from different things that we have these connections on Facebook and social media and such, and I know that there are people that are hurting and they are lonely. And if you're listening to the show, I say to you, I recommend, possibly considering that. Just a new friend, something fresh to invite into your life. We have in our minds what we were told that relationships should be ever since we were little girls and boys, and to a fault, because we think that a relationship should look just like that. Whatever we were raised with, whatever we were brought up around, and that's what we think. And it's devastating to the possibility of relationships that could be happening out there, but they don't have to be dictated or look just like that. We have famous people that are constantly being put in front of us on the telly, in social media, and there's a thing out, there's a hashtag relationship goals, and people think and it's funny. But in all seriousness, we really do think that's what it should look like. And I'm here to tell you that filter that I'm talking about, that guard, that picture that we painted of to what a relationship must look like, or, an image that for others, drop that and create your own, and think in your mind, and protect yourself and be wise about it. But for my friends that I know, or listeners that are possibly lonely, change your thought process. Maybe that person that you were thinking of and dreaming of in your head, maybe the one that you move forward with in life as a